Hi everyone and welcome to Just Love. My name is Paula and I'm here with Judy. Hi Judy.
Hi Paula, hi everyone.
Today we're going to be talking about energy. There's a lot of talk at the moment around 0-point energy. So I wanted to ask you if you could explain to us from your dual consciousness what you believe 0-point energy is.
Okay, this is the energy vibrating on multiple frequencies that permeates the whole universe. People tend to think that once you move beyond the atmosphere of Earth, space is empty, but it's not. From what I understand, the term 0 point refers to this being non-polarized energy, with negative and positive polarities held in a state of perfect balance. This does not cancel the energy out, but rather enhances and greatly empowers it. This is the oneness the ETs refer to, which is their word for God. 0-point energy is the creative life force source energy of the universe. God is not a being. God is the pure non-polarized energy of the universe. The religious concept of the Holy Trinity is a misunderstanding of this Quantum Trinity concept of positive and negative polarities coming together to create a third state, which is oneness. In the Quantum Trinity, 1 + 1 = 3. The family unit on physical planets is meant to be a reflection of this.
Okay. So how can we harness this energy?
This is where the consciousness-enhanced technology such as the ETs have comes into the picture. Earth humans will need to open up to more than the presently available 10% conscious awareness that most of us have to work with to enable this. This is where science and spirituality need to work together in oneness. We tap into it with Reiki. Reiki is non-polarized life force energy, which is why it cannot be used to cause harm. This is also the reason why you must go through a specific attunement process to enable you to access the Reiki frequency. You cannot just learn the Reiki symbols out of a book or online. You must be properly attuned by a Reiki master teacher who in turn has been properly attuned. The attunement process has the effect of tuning your energy chakra system to a higher energy frequency, hence the need for the 21-day cleanse after each level of Reiki. Once your energy system is attuned to a higher frequency, a detoxing process needs to take place. The 4 attunements at the first level of Reiki target each of your 7 main chakras. This is how the universal energy field is tapped into for healing purposes. How it can be done for commercial use, I don't know, not being a scientist, but for this to be done, science will have to open up more to the spirituality, consciousness side of things.
So Judy, you talk about this non-polarized energy in connection with the ETs and their technology. How does this all tie in with Reiki?
Yes, this is a good question. The vast majority of Reiki practitioners have no idea that the concept of Reiki, or rather the energy used in Reiki, was brought here from off-planet long, long ago. Yes, the practice of Reiki was put together by Dr. Mikao Usui, who was a Tendai Buddhist monk and also a practitioner of Shugendo, which is a shamanic practice involving very intense initiations. This being the case, Mikao Usui went through major initiations in both of these areas before encapsulating his many years of training into what he called Reiki, which translates as Universal Spirit Life Force Energy, which is basically just another name for non-polarized energy. Mount Kurama, where he spent time as a Shugenja or Yamabushi, which translates as mountain man, was where he received his own initiation into Reiki. This mountain is a very powerful energy centre with a legend that goes back to the year 770 AD, when a priest by the name of Gantai was led up the mountain by the vision of a mysterious white horse. This was a classic ET screen image. It is said that in the process his soul was enlightened with the realization of Bishamon Ten, the protector of the northern quarter of the Buddhist heaven and the spirit of the sun. In other words, his conscious awareness was greatly enhanced. Gantai was inspired to found a temple there. This consciousness enhancement is part and parcel of ET contact. In this temple that he founded is a shrine dedicated to the Trinity known as Son Ten, or Supreme Deity. Son Ten is believed to be the source of all creation, the essence of all that is. It's no accident that the Trinity concept comes in here, the Quantum Trinity in other words, which symbolises non-polarized or zero-point energy. The story goes on to say that Son Ten came to Earth over 6 million years ago in the form of a being known as Male Son, the great king of the conquerors of evil, who descended upon Mount Kurama from Venus, and his mission was the salvation and evolution of humankind and of all living things on Earth. The Japanese kanji, or symbol, for the Reiki master symbol is used in this temple. It represents Son Ten, the supreme deity known as the Great Bright Light, who, in the form of Male Son, descended from Venus to assist evolution on Earth, which is precisely what Reiki is all about. This is the reason why Mikao Usui went there, where he too experienced a classic ET contact in which he was initiated to the master symbol, which in turn enabled him to initiate others to the Reiki energy, which is pure non-polarized energy. One of my Reiki students actually travelled to this temple on Mount Kurama and took a photo of the ship in which Male Son travelled, which has been replicated by the monks in the temple. It's a classic ET disc.
Wow, that is an amazing story. And as you say, it ties right back in the concept of the Quantum Trinity. So next question, how does this energy tie in with the Schumann frequency of Earth?
Oh, okay, Paula. The Schumann resonance is the vibrational energy frequency of Earth. Again, it's not a planetary atmosphere, but rather an energy field. It's part of the quantum energy field of the universe. I like to think of it as the heartbeat of our Mother Earth. It's intrinsically linked into the energy fields of humans, and so NASA has had to provide technology in their spacecraft to maintain the Schumann resonance energy field for the health and well-being of the crew members on the ships. The Schumann resonance remained at such a steady level over many years that the military forces calibrated their instrumentation based on it, but it has been rising dramatically, causing some people on Earth to feel a high level of discomfort when this happens. This is a planetary shift happening as Earth shifts from fourth to fifth world consciousness. It's all about changing energy frequencies.
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom on this. I also wanted to ask you about the energy that Greg Braden often talks about. He calls it 0-point energy. So the same thing?
I'm pretty sure it would be. Greg seems to be very open on the link between energy and consciousness.
Well, he says that planet Earth has the ability to do this, but the powers that be, or should I say the powers that were, don't want this for all sorts of reasons.
I'm really not sure about this, but it wouldn't surprise me that some form of it has been discovered and is being suppressed because the powers that be can't make money out of it. As well as this, any scientist who tries to bring such things out in the open is in danger of losing both their job and their credibility. Dr. John Mack, a professor of psychiatry at Harvard, came up against this when he was brave enough to come out openly about the reality of ET contact. It's all about ego and money-making by the planetary controllers behind politics, science and religion who run the planet. If the truth comes out, they'll lose their control.
So what are your thoughts on converting fully to electric vehicles to care for the planet and the environment?
Well, again, this is just a major money-making ploy disguised as being environmentally friendly. An electric car is really no better for the environment than a petrol-powered car, while conventional electricity is being used to power it. It's still a fossil fuel. The ET ships travel along ley lines in space, which provide a power source for them. There are these power grid ley lines in space just as there are on Earth, which are connected into 0-point energy. I recall an ET commenting once that Earth-plane aircraft should be using the ley lines in Earth's atmosphere rather than the flight paths they use, which are actually damaging the planet's energy system as well as people's health.
So interesting. Judy, you say that Earth humans will need to open up more to than the presently available 10% conscious awareness that most of us have to work with to enable us to harness this 0-point energy. And that is where science and spirituality need to work together in oneness. Can you offer anything else here? How do you imagine a dialogue between science and spirituality playing out from your dual consciousness perspective? What would you like to see?
What I'd really like to see is way more correct information being brought forward in religion to shift it away from the very limited and fear-oriented 3D God concept that is being pushed so strongly by the fundamentalists. Religion needs to give way to pure spirituality. Sometimes the two go hand in hand, but not always. If religion and science could come together in oneness, it would remove the superstitious nonsense from religion and bring the sacredness back into science. Humans need to realise that spirituality is purely a speeding up and refining of our vibrational frequency at the molecular level. This is what genuine ET contact is all about, and is the reason for the massive changes spoken of by people who took part in a major survey conducted by the Free organisation some years ago.
Yeah, you've spoken about the organisation in our earlier podcasts. Can you just remind us what this organisation is or was all about?
Yeah, FREE stands for Foundation for Research into Extraterrestrial Encounters, and was started up some years ago by Raniero Hernandez, and its patron was the late Dr. Edgar Mitchell. To quote Ray Hernandez, "Probably the most important finding of our free experiencer research study is the complete transformation of individuals that have had contact with UFO-related non-human intelligence. This transformation resulted in a new positive psychological profile of the experiencer. Here's what our survey of more than 4,000 experiencers told us about this transformation compared to before their ET contact experiences began. First, more loving and compassionate towards others than before increased significantly. Secondly, more spiritual than before, or spirituality than before, increased significantly. 3, the belief that their life has a purpose increased significantly. 4th, more tolerant and accepting of others also increased. 5th, much more ecologically minded and concerned about nature. 6th, less materialistic, with money playing a more minor role in their life. 7, they became less religious and more spiritual. 8, their appreciation of the ordinary things in life increased significantly. 9, their understanding of themselves increased significantly. 10, their fear of death decreased significantly. 11, etc., etc., etc. In other words, many more positive changes took place for them. The organisation is now known as CCRI, which stands for Consciousness and Contact Research Institute, and Ray Hernandez is now offering his books at no cost on spirituality and consciousness at info@agreaterreality.com, which I'll include below. I know Ray personally and can recommend his information.
Wow, that's a lot to take in. Thank you so much, Judy and Ray. To read more on all of this, Judy's books are available from Amazon and can be accessed through the links on her website listed below. Her books are
Human by Day, Zeta by Night, followed by the Zeta Message, then Extraterrestrial Presence on Earth, Lessons in History. My 2 most recent books, both Kindle editions and both also available in German, are An Interview with an Alien, Comments by an Undercover ET, and Cosmic Spirituality, Blending Religion and Science in Oneness from an Off-Planet Perspective.
Thanks, Jude, and thank you so much, everyone, for listening. We really do thank you from the bottom of our heart. And we thank you for sharing, liking, and subscribing. So sending you all much love, and bye for now.